だ早くしなさい。オーケー。Let's go!
Hello, and welcome. Today is going to be more of a chill stream, test stream, we're just kind of seeing how things go, But I figured, we'll kill some time here. We'll look at the often replicated, never duplicated 3 issues and counting an issue 0, J. Scott Campbell, or Jeff, as we like to call him, Siderz. We got some people in the chat here. We got Noah, what's up, yo? Top G in the house. Got Mrs. Good Stuff. Nice to see you here. Yeah, it's going to be kind of a casual thing. We're just checking it out, seeing the quality of the stream. Checking out some old comic books. We'll see where it heads. Pretty casual. Just chilling today. But yeah, we'll slide these puppies over here and we'll kind of flip through, these here. Oh, hello. Admiral Wackass, good day to you, sir. We're gonna check out Siderz. I might cough. I might die. I was sick with the coof for like a month. We're putting some stuff on the channel, and so if I don't die here, it's gonna be a success. That's all I can say. If I don't die coughing, I guess. So kind of interesting thing here about Siderz. His post-Danger Girl release. It was pretty interesting because a lot of the art, it's like kind of very Gen 13. You got the big guy. You got the hot blonde. You got the nerd. It's all there. You have COVID right now, Admiral? Man, it's brutal. It's brutal. I wasn't vomiting. I just felt like every joint in my entire body wanted to kill me. It was impressive. And, yeah, I was super sick for weeks. And just barely. I couldn't even look at, monitors or TV. It was brutal. It was really brutal. But yeah, we're going to kind of look at issue 0 here of Siderz. And it's kind of like a Power Rangers kind of thing. They all have animal powers. And the neat thing about a lot of this stuff is, oh, hello, Good Stuff. How you doing today? Yeah, it's pretty neat. He basically made a Power Rangers type thing, and then put these interesting layers of organic tech on them. Ooh, we get some old Batman ads from Mad Cats. Nice. But yeah, this issue 0 here is kind of like a making of, and has a lot of the introductions to the characters and stuff like that. We got big old Siderz pop-out poster still in here. You know what I'm saying? Still in here. We got Wonder Woman, we got Lois and Clark, got all the good stuff. But yeah, kind of the interesting thing about the way he did these issues and showed their superpowers is he traditionally penciled all the pages, but then did all the pages in a separate layer. For all the effects. So anything that you see where it's the 3D kind of looking overlays on top of the characters, like their powers or their wings or anything like that, he just did them in a separate layer, and then the colorist put them on top. So you kind of get like really interesting effects where you have the towers or any of the effects when they turn them on are kind of popping really hard in these things. So it's like, in some ways, it makes for kind of like a messy look. Like, I remember even back in the day, I kind of thought it was a really, like, odd look. Just because it didn't mesh well. Everything kind of was too harsh. Like, as you see how really dark she is and their gear. It's really interesting. I'm going to die here. I think I'm going to take a cough drop. You know what I'm saying? Just so I make it through this. It's going to be noisy. I apologize. Oop. But yeah, here's some more of it. And as you see, like there's, you know, all this kind of stuff going on here where they overlaid on top of the art. But yeah, it's good stuff. Get hype. August 3rd, 2005. I don't believe most of the stuff even came out till October. So there's kind of the first Zero issue. You know, flip through that. We'll look at issue 1. I do have multiple covers for a lot of these because, you know, I was a J. Scott Campbell simp at the time. Still am. Excuse me. But yeah. Excuse me. I'm gonna die. Oh, you know what I should do? Whoop. Bigger. Bigger is better. And then you don't get to see me cough. You know what I'm saying? Everything sound good. I see people in the chat, you know. We don't know. I can't tell. I just set up my settings and went, hey, let's go for it. You know what I'm saying? I think you do. So yeah, full issue 1. We'll pop it over here. And they start right from the start. There is no intro page or anything like that. Crystal clear. All right, awesome. Thanks. Sometimes you do all the prep, and then you still get in here, and it's a trash fire. But we're not too worried about it. We're just going to go with it. My Canadian accent. I will come across the border. I swear to God, Noah. All right. So, there hasn't been an about. The word is about. Settle down. Settle down. All right. You know, do I have to do this to you, Noah? Do I?
Close your mouth.
You know? Let that be a lesson. Shush. But yeah, so anyway, you know. Hey, Shadowhawk, how you doing? So yeah, like, you know, we don't even have an introductory page. We just blast straight into it, which I kind of like. You don't see anybody really do that. Like, you're using every page. Like, he goes right in. You know, and again, we have this art. And with the overlay of their powers, it's kind of hit and miss. It's still to me is still kind of hit and miss. I like the idea. I just don't think the execution is what I would call incredible. So yeah, like, you know, pretty action packed and dynamic page layouts. A lot of movement. The borders are actually pretty minimal, and they don't really stand out. But the page flow is nice. I like a lot of the page flows. Jeff Scott Campbell always was really clean anyway. See, like, you're not going to get any really confusing panels. You know, for better or worse, he didn't do a lot of experimentation as far as panel layouts goes, which kind of was always curious to me. I think he preferred clarity over style. Like, all his style was in the art itself. So a lot of his pages are really simple, as far as layout goes and stuff. So yeah, we're whipping through here. And they also did these kind of interesting pop-outs when they introduced everybody. You know? And so, yeah, you're getting... Like, and there's a lot of work happening in these pages. You know, like, there's a lot of backgrounds and perspective, and, you know, a lot of people shy away from backgrounds even then. But he was going full in. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Got top 10. But yeah, seeing more of these, like, here's the jock, you know. And I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, introducing everybody, and, like, I'm curious, to, like, yeah, I'm sure I could go back and look at the comic sales and stuff. Oh, hello, Dean. How are you, good sir? But yeah, you know, and so, like, the coloring and stuff was excellent. But I still think a lot of the overlay stuff was, you know, very hit or miss. But I do like these flats when they pop in and just kind of stop to introduce the characters. Silent Dragon by Linnell Yu. I have that right here, actually. I could look at that, but you know, we'll save it. We'll save it. Yeah, I've been going through a lot of my old comics boxes, long and short, as of late. Trying to do some organization, trying to, you know, get a little hype. Yeah, and see, so here's some of the interesting things where they do that effect. And like I was saying, he is doing it all in a separate layer. And then the colorist is probably just doing color holds, and then they're just throwing it on top. And we got more. We're going to introduce the cheerleader. This is Jeff Scott Campbell. Dean, hello. We're gonna flip this over. This is the failed Wildsiders. His project in came around October 2005-ish. Wildsiders. It was his post-Danger Girl book. There were 3 issues, counting issue 0. So you only got 0, 1, and 2. And yeah, it kind of dropped off the face of the earth. He never went anywhere with it. It was kind of a Power Rangers-like ripoff, I guess you'd call it. You know, but with all the typical suspects, like, you know, you had a big fat guy, you know, just like Gen 13. You had the tall, lanky, smart girl. Like, you know, I mean, it was very, very, very Gen 13 meets Power Rangers, I guess would be the best way to describe it. But it was interesting, you know, high school drama, you know, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good. Art-wise, you know, he's not shying away from anything. There's tons of people everywhere, you know. But yeah, there's an interesting curiosity, so I just figured, you know, for this stream, we just kind of take a quick look at them and, you know, see where it takes us. You know, see where the wind carries our sails. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I may get bored, and I may pop over, you know, and I may just hit a clip button.
I ain't got the Japanese, maybe you order some Chinese.
You know, that's how we're gonna roll here. But yeah, and here's issue 2/issue 3. You know, clearly you know, you're sensing a pattern here. Red, green, blue, yellow, purple. You know, Rangers, let's go. So yeah, we're back in issue 2. What is a Wildsider? Who are the Wildsiders? So, you know, we're already second issue, and they're already reintroducing you to the whole concept, which may be a bad idea. You know, maybe your idea wasn't that strong in the first place, but who could say? But yeah, the art is pretty good. What I do find interesting, though, if you do look at, like, a lot of his characters and a lot of the art and design in it, they look like Jeff Scott Campbell. But I find, like, they're not as, you know, beautiful as, like, you know what I mean? Like, he clearly went for kind of nerdy cute. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's not, like, super hot. She's kind of, like, a little goofy on that side, you know? But then there's, like, you know, the more traditional Like straight up J. Scott Campbell face. Like even his guys and stuff like that, they are a little bit more goofy, a little bit more expressive than normal. Yeah, like, and I see why you would think that too, like, because I thought it was really interesting, like, whenever you look at, like, a lot of these dudes, like, you know what I mean? They are very, very, like, quick, very narrow, Hey, Mighty Magic, how you doing? Welcome. We're just looking at Jeff Scott Campbell's Wild Siders. Checking it out. But yeah, it's really interesting because, like, as you see through all these pages, there's very strong color tilts. Like, it's very blue, and the whole time, the colors are fairly muted until their powers pop. And in some ways, it almost makes the base colors look too dark. It's really a weird kind of effect. And so yeah, lots to learn. Like this. Who is this? This is clearly our friend from Tenacious D. You know what I'm saying? Like he clearly loves that look. Like same with Gen 13 and everything like that as well. And this pretty sure that's probably Seth Green. Like, that would be if he was making a show, I feel like he's using the same actors. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we get into more of it here. Oh, excuse me. And see, we're already tilting. From purples to oranges. And you're even seeing it in the background when he uses his T-Rex power. The orange shift, the purple shifts in everything really pop. Hello, Arvid. How you doing? Hello. Today, Arvid, since you just got here, we are looking at Jeff Scott Campbell's failed Wild Siders project. And, it is what it is. It's like, some high school drama, some Power Rangers kind of mix. It's kind of just like an interesting curiosity, so I figured we'd kind of take a quick look at it. There are only 3 issues, So, but yeah, it's definitely pretty neat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a classic Jeff Scott Campbell face. This a little less so. Same with him, but I clearly he was going for, like a different look there. But yeah, I feel like it's a little bit more cartoony, a little bit more loose, and in some ways I like that. In other ways, it's like Dean was like surprised. Basically, Wildsiders is, they're basically doing experiments for people who have disabilities. And then instead of a lot of this stuff going out to actual disabled people, they end up using them for superheroes. So you're basically like the main. We seen her earlier there. She was running with the purple legs, and so basically she's kind of like the Barbara Gordon, let's say, when she gets shot. She's stuck in a wheelchair. Uses her brains to basically set up this new technology. Hello, Mo. Welcome. How you doing? And so she basically uses that to basically get these kids to experiment and test out her thing. And so they essentially become kind of like a Power Ranger style team. It's all color coded and everything like that as well. Just like the Power Rangers. And then there's the corporate villains and stuff like that. It was pretty kind of straightforward in what it was going for. But yeah, like, anytime you see her, she's the wheelchair one. She's the one that's with the tech, and so would always see her walking using the power because she's just like she's crippled otherwise. So yeah, there are all kinds of powers. Like he has like the wings, and there's a T-Rex guy, and they're all kind of animal powers, kind of like like Dino Thunder or anything like that for Power Rangers. So yeah, and so our issue 2 ends with a wonderful cliffhanger to never be completed. You know what I'm saying? So we have 3 issues that go nowhere, that never continue after the initial run. And this was January 06 for issue 2, so issue 1 was October 05, and then it was another, what's that, 3 months before you got issue 2, and then nothing. You know, so pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. We're gonna jump over to something else here, you know, because there's only 3 issues here. I think I'm gonna grab. I have some other curios that we might want to take a quick look at, and that's gonna be. Do I have issue 1 here? I do. All right. So I'm gonna take a quick look at the Astounding Wolfman. Just some weird stuff. I've been going through my boxes, and you know, finding weird stuff that I was picking up back in the day. And you know, everybody loves wolf-based men, and so we're gonna check them out. That's right. Just like Battle Chaser, I have a stack of. Man, I could get into some weird stuff today. I have my stack of Battle Chasers here. I have my stack of Gen 13. I have Bulleteer. I have solo issues. The whole thing. The whole thing. I was going through boxes and boxes and doing some organization. And, yeah. So, The Astounding Wolfman, #1. Robert Kirkman. Writer. Jason Howard. Penciler, inker, and colorist. So this guy's doing the whole show. This guy's the whole shebang. And it's very clean. It's very Ryan Ottley in his safe style. You know, and so I could easily see why he's drawing, ink, and coloring the whole thing. Because it's very clean, very simple, you know. And so, yeah, we got The Astounding Wolfman. And there's a lot of really, like, the thing I like about some of these books, like, this is going to be really random, but obviously I bought them because I like them. And I do find merit in the layout, the style, you know, the color palette, stuff like that. And so I do like noting, you know, like the change in the color palette, the actual, you know, pace of palette even. You know, you're cutting through here, it's green in the rooms, it takes you outside, like she's coming in from outside, and you clearly see the transition to color, where people are, what's going on, and it makes it easier for you to follow, you know. But yeah. And see, you know, it's nighttime, he's the Wolfman, he's popping out there. Some really good shots, some really good panels, like it's, like this looks like it was like made to be a cartoon. Like, it's so clean, it's so crisp, and it's so visually, like, even stuff like that panel is small, you know, and it's just blacked out with the moon behind it, but it's striking, it's clean, you know. And so, yeah. And again, we're back in here, we're in the hospital, we know exactly where we are, and then we cut to his room, and he's naked, because he was out werewolfing that evening. You know what I'm saying? See, again, we're palette transitioning. We're going oranges because we've changed place, you know. And so, yeah, like, I think this is something also that a lot of people miss when they're making their books. You know, you're making these books and you have to, like, you know, your book should rise and fall color-wise, thematically, tone-wise. And so, when I was looking through my stuff and I seen these, I was like, oh yeah, like I really dig how they use color to transition, to change, to, you know, evoke mood in this series. And like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very simple. Like all the, like there is no shading. Like everything is really flat, clean colors. You know, these are practically storyboards for like an animated show. Like, they're so clean, it's insane. You know, and so there's not a lot of noodling. Everything's really clean, but it's like, it's strong. Like, that's like, you know what I mean? Like, these shots are all visually striking. You know what I mean? And so you don't have, like, you didn't have to render fur for 3 weeks, or you didn't have to spend 2 months on grass, Noah, to understand that that's a grassy field. You understand where he is. You understand he's chasing this rabbit. You know, he's eating the rabbit. He's getting everything visually across, and it's very clean. It's very simple, and it's striking. Yeah, absolutely. Like, and like, well, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, like you're saying, like putting on a cologne, but also like, you know, when you're shifting tone, or you're shifting, you know, that scent profile, if you will, you know, like, it's meant to evoke different emotions, different feel. And you see a lot of bland books that they just feel like they're going through the motions of telling the story. You know, it's like, okay, he's got to get there. Well, I guess I got to figure it out. And it's not interesting. It's not exciting. It's not visually, like, this is a visual medium. And notice, like, even for the, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a fairly wordy page, but most of the pages have been really light on dialogue, you know? And so that's the kind of thing, like, show, don't tell. I don't need a 200-word essay on, you know, the first panel to visually see, you know, that he's sleeping, or that he's naked, or, you know, there are people watching him as a werewolf, whatever, you know? And so, yeah, like, I'm really liking, because, like, you're getting visual point of place. Like, you know where he is in this kind of orange-hued place. You know what's going on. You know where everybody's at. You know, and so, yeah, this guy, he knows a thing or two about the supernatural. Excuse me. But yeah, you know, and so we got some sketchbooks here. We got Wolfman, kind of reminds me of that Deer Man that guy was showing off there the other day. Maybe it was a week ago, maybe it was 2, I don't know. But yeah, and so a lot of his sketch designs are pretty simple. A little science dog there. If you know who Science Dog is, you've, you know, read Invincible. You know, more of Robert Kirkman's stuff. I'm kind of hit or miss on Kirkman. A lot of his work, like, Invincible's amazing. Like, the first, I don't know, 6 of volumes of the Ultimate Volume are incredible. Some of his other stuff's kind of hit and miss. I'll grab a drink right here. But yeah, you know, so, and this kind of stuff, like, a lot of people kind of don't like sketch material. I personally love it. I like to see what people are thinking, how they get to their final designs, you know, that kind of stuff. You know. Excuse me. Jeez. This cough is hanging around a little longer than I would like. So yeah, we got more of the kind of final clean designs. You know, some of the character designs, some cover concepts. You know, the family. I kind of like that gag. That's almost like a Teen Wolf kind of gag, with his arm up on her shoulder, half wolf. That's pretty interesting. You know, and some of the page layouts and design. You know, and you can see he's fully went in there. Those are all hand drawn. You know, you get the blue line, everything there. Yeah, it is, and that's the thing. Like, fun visual gags. You know, I dig them. I'm not going to go through all these Astounding Wolfmans right now. We're going to pop around a bit, because I was thinking about doing a bunch of these. These are really cool, and I'm a big fan of them when they came out. And DC, something that Marvel doesn't do, also something that DC doesn't do anymore, because they don't care about artists. Excuse me. So these were incredible. I have a stack of them. Jordy Bernay, Tim Sale, Darwin Cook. My God, love that guy's work. Howard Chaykin, Richard Corbin, Paul Pope. These solo books are incredible. You know, they're just kind of focusing on the art, short stories, stuff like that, of a lot of these creators. And you don't get that. Like, they were tossing these puppies out, you know, and yeah, like, I just love this kind of stuff. Like, because, you know, it's kind of like giving somebody like a solo album, literally. Well, we got a little blur action happening here. See if our camera's going to focus. There we go. All right. The future. But yeah, see, and these, a lot of these stories were either written by them or written by some other writers. So, you know, you got one by Neil Gaiman, Steven Seagal, you know, or Teddy Christensen. So yeah, so you basically get to see, you know, we're going to kind of quickly flip through a lot of these guys and their art style, their design, you know. And see, here's a lot of people doing, you know, more with less. Excuse me. But yeah, you know, so, you know, you're gonna flip through, and obviously, you know, this isn't gonna appeal to everyone, this art style. But you know, that's art, you know. That's the visual medium, you know. But yeah, I thought these were really cool, you know, and since I'm just kind of, you know, flying around, you know, it's a casual, pretty chill kind of stream. I do like that. When I was flipping through this section specifically, this ice section, it really reminded me of Narwhal, where he is such a minimalist and everything is about gesture and style and, you know, just tone. I am flying KSS. SSS. Kenneth, even. Happy birthday, good sir. I hope it's a good one for you. But yeah, like, you know what I mean? So this stuff really reminded me of Narwhal. It was really interesting. And I'm curious if he's even aware of this artist. I feel like just visually, he would have a kingship with him. And yeah, so, you know, we're gonna pop this one over here. We're gonna slide out these suckers out of these old bags here. And these were like, I'm gonna say 2005, 2006. Yeah, all stories written and illustrated by Paul Pope. You know. But yeah, so it's not a boat. It's not even a boot. It's a boat. Anyway, so, you know, you're getting a bunch of cool Paul Pope art. You know, I don't know, I have like a love-hate with Paul Pope, because like he's got some awesome stuff, and then there's stuff that just like, it feels like he just kind of phoned it in. You know, there's a lot of artists like that where, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I just feel people put lines on paper for the sake of detail, not because it matters. If you get what I'm saying. And so, like, you know, sometimes when you see it, like, so much noodling on a page, and you're just like, you know, and then you'll see somebody else who has something really clean, and it pops better. Clean work pops a lot better. You know, and gives the colors more room to breathe. You know, you can put every piece of bark on a tree, but that doesn't make the piece better. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, unless that tree is hella important, and visually part of the story, you know, that you have to portray every piece of it. I don't need to know how many divots in each piece of bark that you decide to put in there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like some of the stuff, like, you know, like a lot of it seems like noodly for noodly's sake. Like, you know, like there's just a ton of lines that just don't need to be there. And you know, and something that a drop shadow or, you know, whatever would fix, you know, just some clean shading. But like, I mean, that's the thing too. Like a lot of this is colored kind of more traditionally. You're just getting flat colors, you know. Exactly. It should fill you with madness. So yeah, like, you know, we have a lot of this stuff here, you know, and it looks good. Like, I don't know, I'm very hit or miss on Paul Pope. You know, a lot of his ladies look eh. You know, he draws these kind of quirky, you know, not what I would call sexy ladies and not what I would call ugly, but I feel like he goes for like the quirk in all of his faces and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, like these are pretty neat, these solo books. You're gonna flip around, you know, and we'll get to. We could look at Howard Chaykin, we could look at, but you know what? It's goddamn Darwin Cook time. One of the best artists ever to step foot on this planet Earth, Darwin Cook. You know what I'm saying? You can argue it. You could argue that all you want. You're wrong. That's this. Let's, you know. This guy, you know, if you've seen any of his books, New Frontier, any of the Parker books he did, excuse me, just incredible. You know, but he's such an incredible storyteller too. Like that's also the thing. Like, and he has, like, you know, like he can do this kind of this really simple style, but then he's going to spend all this time, like, you know, drawing the car and stuff like that. It's really interesting. His whole style and everything like that is interesting to me because it kind of, like, I don't know, it has this like really classic Americana kind of feel. But he's not American. Don't tell anybody. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, he seems to have a real love for, like, the Norman Rockwell picture of North America, let's say, you know. And he's very trapped in that kind of 40s feel for everything. And it's really interesting, you know. Like, it's like that Parker stuff, that James Bond, that kind of classic feel to everything. Everything feels like it's like 2 steps away from being, you know, film noir or, you know, some kind of classic tale. Like even like I guess the best way, like even if you look at New Frontier, right? That whole book has a very, very classic feel to it. Very like late 40s, early 50s superhero feel. You know, and all the stuff that's going on in it, you know, and like boxing and like, you know, the war, you know, Second World War, Vietnam, all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting, and so he's just kind of been in that loop. Like, and he worked on Batman Beyond. He did the opening and stuff like that. You know, him and Bruce Timm are very much contemporaries. You know, but like, yeah, just like his stuff is so striking, and even his simple like sketch work, just like, you know, you just look at like how simple that is, like just the gesture of the hand, and like, you know, like that stuff is just beautiful. Like, he just like, I don't know, he's one of those artists when I look at his stuff, I'm like, oh my god, it's so simple, but yet like some of the best stuff you'll ever see. Like it's so weird because it's like. And there's like these big shifts, like if you look at New Frontier and stuff like that, like, or even his work on the Spirit, you know, even his work on the Spirit, he had an awesome run in the mid 2000s on the Spirit. Anything I ever see of his, I pick up, you know. Well, I would pick up. He has passed a few years back, you know, but like, yeah, just really interesting, like. a lot of these layouts and stuff like that, they're so simple, but like, you know, they're strong. No, see, here's the thing. Simple, it can be brilliant. You know, and like, just because you can over-render a bicep doesn't make that bicep great. Just because, you know, like even when you look at Kenneth's stuff, and to a lot of people, they think he's, what's the best way to say it? Like, they think he's doing an incredible amount of detail, but he's not. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's making texture choices, and texture gives things more feel and more depth than doing a ton of cross-hatching or a ton of, like, piddly detail. Do you know what I mean? There's a real, you know, and simple, well, hey Nolan, how you doing? But simple, not as in simple as in retarded simple. Simple as in just obvious design, clean design that makes everything pop. And so, just because you can, you know, like I said, yeah, exactly. Like, if you have a really clean outline of a body, and the second you go in and start over cross-hatching and all that stuff, a lot of the detail obscures actual poor anatomy. And so people look at it and go, oh, and I see it a lot in CG. I see it a lot in people who are like, oh my God, so-and-so is an incredible artist. And you're like, no, he just spent a bunch of time doing a bunch of detail. And the average person doesn't understand that more detail doesn't mean better anatomy, better art, better design. Typically, people who are excellent at design do the stuff that you're seeing here. They are doing clean, simple things that get across the point in seconds, other than you having to go, okay, is his arm ahead? Is it back? Is he standing in water? What, like, you know? And so, you know, you'll see a lot of people do muddy work. And you're not going to see that with a Darwin Cook. You're not going to see that with, like, a Tim Sale. You're not going to see this with, like, a lot of these people who are doing this, like, incredible, not just storytelling, but incredible design. You know? And so I think that's the difference. Like, a lot of quote-unquote comic artists around here don't understand design, don't understand lighting, don't understand color theory, don't understand, you know, panel placement. They don't understand how the panels are supposed to draw your eye down the page, you know. And you're seeing a lot of it, and there's a lot of bad books out there. There's a lot of bad logos out there, you know, and so yeah, you're definitely missing out. And that's the thing, like, you know, but like when you're looking at these pages, you know, and you're seeing everything that's going on in them, they're clean, they're obvious. Amanda, I'll have none of that. You know what I'm saying? None of it.
Close your mouth.
But yeah, that's the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, even like this here stuff, super clean, super good looking. I like it. You know? But yeah, like, and look at this Batman stuff. Like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Like this Batman stuff here. Mwah, chef's kiss. Just look at it. Majestic. You know? And so, like, that's the thing. Like, you know, he's doing, like, beautiful panel layouts. Really simple. Really clean. You know exactly what's happening. You know? Title in the billboard. Like, you know, on another level. Good luck, children. Good luck. He is on another level. But yeah, like, even if you're not blown away by the style per se, you know, even if you find his style simple and underwhelming, and so yeah, that's the thing. Oh no, don't worry about it. I'm not worried about you teasing or whatever. This is to explain just for people in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's... We're good. We're good. But yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, and you're seeing these pops of color. You're seeing these flat colors. Because you don't need, you know, every color of the rainbow to make this panel pop. You don't need every color of the rainbow to go through and get your tone shifts. Your mood shifts, you know? And so, yeah, that's the thing that's, like, just beautiful about Darwin Cook's work. Like, yeah, it's incredible. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Yes. Look at it. Majestic. But yeah, big fan of Darwin Cook. I recommend you pick up anything that he has ever touched. And you will be better for it. You will be better for it. Yes. Let's have a look at... We could look at Corbin. We're not going to look at Corbin. We'll look at Tim Sale. I'm worried about this Geordie Burnett book. I can't remember if it has nudity in it or not. That's the thing, you know. We'll get there. We'll get there. Now, this was well before $4.99. You know what I'm saying? Darwin Cook was on another level before $4.99 even thought about happening. Yeah. Yeah, I do like tasteful nudity, let me tell you. But, like, I have a lot of Geordie Burnett stuff, and all of it has nudity in it. Whether it's Torpedo, any of his work, just like, he did a lot of Western stuff, did a lot of, you know, noir, etc. So, yeah, we're just kind of pop through this Tim Sale. Again, there's a ton of these solo books they did when it was probably the mid 2000s, 2005, 2006. The vast bulk of my comic collection is kind of from, I'm going to say, early 2000s to 2010. And there's a reason for that. I managed 2 comic book shops from about 2003 to 2009. A guy I knew at the time needed help, knew I knew about comics and stuff like that. And so I worked there for, a good 6 or 7 years. And so a lot of my comic purchasing and all that kind of stuff was really, really focused in that time because I had a great discount, you know. So, hey, I just picked up everything that even looked cool to me. You know. But yeah, let's pop open this Tim Sale book. Richard Starkings, also big fan of his stuff. Elephant Men, incredible series as well. I've got a ton of that stuff. Probably look at those someday as well. But yeah, we're going to pop into this Tim Sale stuff. But yeah, again, what you're going to notice here is a lot of similarities in form and function, color, lighting, stuff like that, with Darwin Cook and Tim Sale. They come from very similar schools of thought, and as far as like lighting and design and all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, it's called Solo. All these books that DC put out were called Solo. You know, it was Tim Sale Solo, Darwin Cook Solo, etc., etc. But yeah, like right here, you know, right off the top, you're going to notice very similar color palette choices, very similar tone and shade and design, you know. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of it. I'm here for it. You know, stylistic choices are going to be Damn it, Sumo.
How can that be?
I don't bloody well know, woman.
Don't make me.
All right, let's get straight to the biscuits. At 0800 hours this morning, an American soldier was eaten by a Nazi dinosaur.
That's a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
No, Claire, that's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Try thinking first before you open your mouth.
Anyway. So, we're popping in here. Get some beautiful color. Also, I'm also kind of hit or miss on some of Tim Sale's stuff. I generally like his work, but you know, not everything's a winner. But that's life. That's life. But he does like to draw a beautiful lady. You know what I'm saying? He does like to draw beautiful ladies. He's not afraid to make a sexy lady, and I'm here for that. But see, and here's more. See, like there's design elements happening in the background. It's what it's all about. Like if you're not thinking, you know, and designing everything, you're missing everything you could be doing. And that's the kind of thing. Like, you know, you can have subtext in these banners. You can have subtext in every piece of your work. You can have hidden things in it. You just got to think about what you're doing. And there's not always a lot of thought happening. But yeah. Excuse me. So, here we go. Now, I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying, KSS, Kenneth? You know? But I don't know if everybody can handle this. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're ready for this spaghetti. If you know what I'm saying? You know? I'm going to drink some of this coffee before I die here. But yeah. You know, and right here, oh, what's this? We've got the upside down kiss as he's hanging there. Yeah, well, see, and that's the thing. Like, I think as I've tried to learn more as an artist, as I've tried to get better as an artist, I would kind of go and look at artists that weren't necessarily, how can I put it? Weren't necessarily my cup of tea, weren't necessarily my thing, but were loved and respected. Like, I'm gonna like basically like kind of like Star Wars. When I grew up, I didn't really understand why everyone loves Star Wars so much. Like, no joke. Like, I have an older brother, and he loves Star Wars. You know, he had an AT-AT walker, he had all this stuff, while I was running around playing with Transformers and G.I. Joe, right? And then as you grow up, you know, and there's all these other people who are like, oh my god, Star Wars is the best thing ever. And I'm like, it's okay. And for me, I've come to the understanding that I really feel like people like the idea of Star Wars more than actual Star Wars. Right? Like, because on paper, Space Samurai, you know, Jedi, World War II fights in spaceships, laser swords, all those things are really cool, right? And so that's the thing. Like, I get see, that's the thing. Like, I get why people like Star Wars, but I think they like the idea of Star Wars. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because when you say, like, oh shit, like, that dude's got a laser sword and guys are flipping around like ninjas and Darth Vader looks like a guy in samurai armor, you know, but it's in space and it's kind of has a Western tint to it as well. And so, like, it feels like one of those things that when you describe it, it's cool, but it never actually is the sum of all of its parts. And so I get why people like the idea of Star Wars, because I like the idea of Star Wars, and I do actually like some Star Wars games, and I actually like the first season of Clone Wars, stuff like that. They're, because like that's kind of the weird thing about me. Like whenever I hear a bunch of hype about something that I might not necessarily be stoked on, and that's bringing me back to Tim Sale here. Is that, you'll see a lot of people go like, oh my God, Tim Sale, blah, 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 blah. It was amazing. And so I was kind of like, I'm not a big fan of Tim Sale. But then I started looking at his work and looking at what he was doing. And then it made more sense. And then I kind of got the through path of people like Darwin Cook, people like Bruce Timm, stuff like that. And so once you kind of see the through line, it's kind of like going like, okay, well, here's where, here's Neil Young at the start. But then you also go, okay, well, Matthew Sweet was hugely influenced by Neil Young. Dinosaur Jr. was hugely influenced by Neil Young. And you kind of go, oh, I see the path to get here. And so, and it's kind of the exact same thing with Star Wars. Star Wars was hugely influenced by Seven Samurai and Kurosawa films in general. And then he was also hugely influenced by World War II fighter, pilots and stuff like that. So you kind of get the funneling to Star Wars. You get how he got there. Or things like Green Lantern. Green Lantern doesn't exist without Lensman, back in like the 40s or 50s, and so that's the kind of trickle down to how we get here is why I really find it super interesting. Yep, Sergio Leone. Is why I really find that kind of stuff interesting. It's kind of like whenever, like all roads lead back to Art Adams, or all roads lead back to all these other creators. And so that's the kind of interesting thing about it. Like I love Excalibur with Alan Davis. Like that stuff's amazing. But no one ever talks about it. So that to me is the real interesting thing. And so you see like if you see like my art, I love Darwin Cook, but you're gonna have to really look for why his color choices influence me. You're gonna have to really look for why certain things influence me, and because I'm not a clone of him, and I don't want to be, but I do love his work. So that's the kind of thing that you have to figure out as an artist, and figure out who was influencing who, and who, what the family tree of like a Jeff Scott Campbell is, and you look at his art and you go, okay, he's really influenced by Jim Lee, but you can also see a very like Disney influence on him, and animation influence, and so he's clearly looked at like caricature and gesture and stuff like that as well. So that kind of stuff's really interesting. And then you get all the clones of J. Scott Campbell, the Al Rios, the Ed Benz, stuff like that. And so, yeah, it's the lineages are interesting to see. So anyway, we're going into what I feel Tim Sale does best, and that's black and white. I honestly prefer the vast majority of his work in black and white. Some of it's in color, some of it's not. But yeah, it's pretty cool. This is also really cool. We got a lot of screen tone effects in here. He's going for that really like classic, kind of 40s, 50s, kind of Flash Gordon-y kind of look to Superman. And I kind of dig it, We got all of our little Kirby Crackle all up in there, Apparently no one ever made a black spacey blob until Kirby, but we'll keep calling it the Kirby Crackle. And this is also kind of the interesting thing too. This is like Supergirl in Young Love. In the 40s and 50s, like once I started like really getting into the history of comics, like some of the greats, like Alex Toth, like he did romance comics like for years and years and years before he like, went and like designed half the stuff for Hanna-Barbera, or like, did some of the things like Torpedo and Westerns and stuff like that. And so like it's really interesting to me that romance comics were a huge thing, a huge genre, up until, like the late 70s and then the early 80s, once like the Marvel superhero took hold and just basically pushed, women and girls out of comic reading, like entirely. It's really interesting. And I honestly think that is a huge part of why manga is so popular, is that there are so many different genres. There's like slice of life and romance and all this other stuff, and superhero stuff and adventure and like, you know what I mean? Like there's just so many more genres that manga tackles in a more popular mainstream way than American comics do, and when you see what Marvel's doing, with Captain Marvel, all that kind of stuff, they really don't understand that. And we're not going to be talking about manga for other than that, but I also do think it is important. But I do think that, like, as we go through all this stuff, if you don't know how we got here, you don't know how to not repeat those mistakes, And so that's the thing. Like, yeah, like a ton of those romance books, or there's like a lot, like there's like weird stuff like Hot Wheels comics and like racing comics and stuff like that, where there's just incredible art. Like I remember going through like some of the old Alex Toth books and stuff that I have, where they had reprints of a lot of this stuff, and I was just like, these romance books or these detective books look so much better than anything most people are doing today. And it's sad. It's sad that books from almost 100 years ago look better than the guys who are just cruising along today. Like, and it's kind of sad. Like, because it's weird. Like, it feels like there's so much lost. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like we fell off a cliff at some point, and then the 80s and 90s came, and then, the image revolution in the 90s and stuff like that. And it just seems like we were focused on the wrong things. And so it's getting, when you see the simpler kind of tales being told, and things like the, this Darwin Cook solo or this Tim Sale stuff, they're really crisp and really clean. Like, just on the page there, like, you can see what's happening. And the page isn't big. It's not huge. It's not in your face. Excuse me. And so, that's the stuff I find really interesting. Is that, like, they figured it out, and then we refuse to follow it. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, when you look at, like, the monomyth and all that kind of stuff. It's like people laid out those archetypes, and now people think that they know better than them. And it's very interesting to see, that like people like Rob trying to reinvent the wheel. But yet the wheel's already invented. It works. It spins around and it drives you where you need to go, or however you want to use your wheel. And so you see all these people trying to reinvent the wheel, and it's just like, dude. Excuse me. All right, Sumo. I'm not sure what you're doing here, but I'll fight you. But yeah. I don't know. It's just, there's just like, I don't know. Sometimes I see some of the stuff. Excuse me. Hold on one sec. In case anyone missed it, you're going to get this right quick.
早くしなさい。Okay. Let's go!
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that little interlude there, but this cough just doesn't want to go away. You know? Listen. See, that's the beauty of it. Like, you know, timeouts are, you know, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, you know, we're back here. We got some really, I don't know. See, that's the thing. Like some of the Tim Sale faces, I can live without. Like, you know, what's happening here? I don't know. I'm not a fan. But you know, the layouts are nice. You know, I'm all about the layouts. So yeah, we're back here. We got some more Tim Sale, and he's got a little this. This is a little dirtier. I'm not sure I'm a fan of it. It might look better in black and white. You know, a little Superman tail. But you know, we'll flip through. And a lot of these were really short too. Like I actually kind of like them, almost like a mini anthology. You know, and so that's the beauty of it. See, like now, see here. Now here's where we're going to get into. And maybe it's because he loves the genre more. Maybe he's, you know, maybe it's just more his thing, right? But anytime you see him do noir, it's great. Like, you know, so here we go. See, and this is what I'm talking about. He knew how important this shot was. He knew how like this guy's like, huh? Next panel. Smoking hot lady. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. You know, and so he's there with the visual pop. She's in red. He's like, hubba hubba. And she's like, I'm gonna drop that deuce. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, like really, really clean, really interesting. Yeah, see, like beautiful ladies. You know what I'm saying? Rough looking dudes. I'm a big fan. You know? Yeah, see, Sumo knows what's up. And I think it's because it's the passion. I think that's where his passion lied. Was in noir. Exactly. I'm gonna drop a deuce. I'm gonna drop the Cosby kids off at the pool. I'm gonna have a burrito baby. You know? But yeah. Like that's the thing. Like I love a lot of this stuff. Like look at that. That would have took forever. That's right. Yeah, I'm gonna drop an Amber Heard. You know. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, these are all pretty cool. You know, the work is clean. Oh, we got a little blur again. Let's see if we can get the zoom. See, this is the worst thing about these cameras. You know what I'm saying? It's like I just want clean visuals, and this camera's like, hey, get wrecked. You know? I'm gonna pop her down here. We're gonna zoom in. No. My camera hates me. Alright. Perfection. So what we're gonna do So we're gonna slip over to this. Listen, Sumo, are you just here for these clips?
Close your mouth.
Is that it? You know? Because
Maybe I am not that bad. I got the Japanese. Maybe order some Chinese. To die.
But yeah, you know how it is. You know, I think that's going to do it for me. You know, we've had a test stream here. We've seen how it goes. My camera has decided to hate me. You know, unless I hold everything up like this, it's deciding to not refocus down here. I don't know why that is. But yeah, I don't know. If you like what you saw here today, you know, maybe you didn't. I don't know. You know, hit a thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. I think I'm going to go grab something to eat. Maybe be back later. I probably have some other videos, you know. It's cool. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for me. See you guys next time. Have a good one. All right, bye-bye.